Everybody, it's Uncle Adam coming back with you. Now, I debated whether I should have a little tiny discussion here at the start of the show or not, as there goes my microphone going back on me. Um, about my feelings, about how things are going on the channel and what have you. I'm a little down over still having only 70 subscribers. A lot of people talk to me and they say, Uncle Adam, you just got to do this for you, man. You got to do it for the sport that you love so much. Bare knuckle boxing, bare knuckle fighting championship, dirty boxing. You got to get on here and wax iconic about these things that you treasure so much that you walked away from professional wrestling for, which wasn't hard to do. Professional wrestling so horrible nowadays that it's embarrassing to even talk about once being a fan. But that said, as much as I love these sports, and here on this show, we're going to talk about Bare Knuckle Boxing 49 Dance of the Dragons, which happened about a week ago, December 5th, 2025, a little more than a week ago, as the clock is ticking away, getting closer to December 13th as I record this. Nice day, one of my favorite days, maybe. Why? It's my birthday. I turn 56 in a couple of hours here, less than 3 hours on the East Coast time standard. So happy birthday to me. And as I get ready to celebrate that, by doing not much of anything except kicking back and relaxing as we all like to do, I just started to think about, man, do I want to do this? Do I want to sit down there on Uncle Adam Eve and talk about a fight? I mean, why? Maybe I go watch Pluribus, right? One of my new favorite TV shows. Maybe I'll go watch an episode of another one of my favorite shows. Maybe I'll go watch, some Japanese wrestling. I don't know. But it's like, no, let's carry on. Let's pick up. Let's get over the fact that I can't even get 100 subscribers and talk about Bare Knuckle Boxing 49. One more thing before I do that. As I sit here and try to decide what I want to do, do I want to make any changes? Do I want to keep doing what I'm doing? One thing has crossed my mind more than once. Maybe I should only discuss bare knuckle boxing. Why? Because it's better? No. Because I love it more than I love bare knuckle fighting championship? No. But bare knuckle fighting championship gets all the hype in the world. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but they get all the hype in the world. They have all the media they can get. And I'm not saying bare knuckle boxing doesn't, but as I evaluate, it's like, I think bare knuckle boxing deserves more than it gets. I think it deserves more credit than it gets. I think it deserves more attention than it gets. And they're working their way up. They figured out a formula, they're really starting to come up in the world of bare knuckle boxing. I think they're soon going to rival bare knuckle fighting championship. I really do. Some of you will scoff at that. I don't like members of each roster sort of putting the other company down. And I'm not saying they all do that, but I have seen some fighters from BKFC sort of scoff and mock and make fun of BKB. And I've seen, well, I don't think I have, but just for the sake of argument, let's say I've seen a fighter or two from BKB do the same to BKFC. Not a big fan of that. I am a fan of both. I will most likely continue to talk about them both, but I'm just telling you, I'd like some suggestions from some of you. What would you like to see me do on this channel? I get some thumbs down in my videos, not many, but I get one here, one there. I would just like to hear some opinions. You don't have to be a negative piece of shit and say all kinds of stupid, pathetic things, but if you got some constructive criticism for Uncle Adam, would you lay it on me, please? What am I doing that you like? What am I doing that you don't like? Now, I do appreciate those of you who have reached out to me and thanked me for covering this combat sport, bare knuckle fighting, because there's not a lot of coverage out there. There just isn't. There may be another YouTube channel or two, but there aren't a bunch of them. There's some Facebook pages. There's some tweeters, some Xers, whatever you call them now that thing's called X. I don't know. Out there who talk about it. There aren't many. And I'm guessing that's why I struggle to get a huge audience, because while BKB and BKFC and even Dirty Boxing in its own right sells out their venues more often than not, or damn close to it, I guess there isn't a whole lot of them that flock to social media to discuss it. So that's why I just have to sort of calm down and relax and wait this out, I guess. But now that I've laid my heart on the line, do you see my new replica Police Gazette Diamond Championship belt back there. Boy, that is a nice belt. Even as a replica, it's heavy, has those big eagles on top of every plate. Really nice looking belt, even as a replica. And my BKFC one's there. It doesn't show up quite as good as my lighting. I got some nice lighting, but I know that's always something I could improve here, and that's something I work on whenever I can. Now that I have went on and on, opined about things other than this card, let's jump into Bare Knuckle Boxing 49, Dance of the Dragons from December 5th, 2025. Started with Rory McCarthy taking on Geraint Goodridge. This wasn't much of a fight. I'm going to stop apologizing for that shit too. Like, I don't really mean to disrespect the other fighter. Look, if I talk about you getting your ass beat, that is not me disrespecting you. It's just what happened. And if you don't like it, you're just going to have to get the hell over it and do better next fight. That's the way I look at it, right? McCarthy was knocked down 3 times in the first round by a very aggressive Goodridge. I mean, Goodridge came out like he was shot out of a cannon, knocked him down. The next round, 2 more knockdowns in round 2, ended the fight. The referee just looked at this, decided this couldn't continue. Goodridge was tough. He was tough, but this was going to continue to happen, and that was obvious. The winner early in round 2 by knockout, Geraint Goodridge. Now, this is the prelims, of course. But look, I've seen a lot of amazing fights in all the companies in the prelims because these guys want to impress over these gals. They want to impress. They want to be moved up, bumped up, pushed ahead. And a lot of times it leads to some exciting fights. And even though this ended early in round 2, this was an exciting fight. That's for sure. Geraint Goodridge looking like a badass. No doubt about that. Next up, Dance of the Dragons. The second fight was Corey Healy taking on Marcin Kosiak. Round 1 was back and forth. Hard to call who won round 1. Round 2 saw Kosiak take Healy down while clinching. So they were doing the phone booth fighting. They were chest to chest, and they got the big knockdown there, okay? Kosiak took down Healy while clinching. Healy landed hard on his hip and shoulder, though. When he went down, they were doing the clinching, boom, 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 dirty boxing, if you will. Bam, down he goes. Healy hits his hip hard, can't continue. Doctor comes in, examines him, agrees. That hip is messed up. That shoulder might be messed up. This is over. It is ruled a no contest, unfortunately. We've got to see a rematch between these two for sure. I think this is the first time I've seen a fight end this way, where a hard landing onto the mat, onto the canvas, caused one of the fighters to not be able to continue. So again, let's see them run it back for sure. The next fight on Dance of the Dragons, the third fight of the night, was Ethan George taking on Sean Rafford. This fight started off good. Both of them measuring, but measuring in a good way. Like, it's hard to explain what I'm talking about. A lot of times measuring can be kind of boring. Guys are out there just sort of trying to find their pace, trying to find their shot, trying to find their range. These guys were doing that. But it was they were so skilled. They were such good boxers, and their footwork was so sweet, if you will. If you sat back and really leaned in, if you will, and watched this fight, you could see they were both good working boxers. But it was Ethan George who stepped out and took control pretty quick into the first round with massive body shots. I always love body shots. Am I saying they're the most exciting thing in fighting? Hell no. But when boxers are in there, really good, legitimate boxers, bare knuckle boxing, mind you, and they can take advantage of the body shots and aren't worried about constantly have to headhunt, it can do wonders. And it did wonders here as we saw Ethan George take down Sean Rafferty in the first round with those body shots. Great job by Ethan George for sure. The fourth fight of the night on Dance of the Dragons was Robert Koki taking on Tom Pratt. Both men taking long, hard, wide shots and falling into the clinch. What I mean, they're like doing the rounded shots, right? They're coming around like this. And as they both do it, and they both were, and they were hard shots, but they weren't jabs, they weren't uppercuts, they were the rounded shots just coming around that fall into each other into a clinch. And this happened quite a bit at the beginning. Besides that, not much else in round 1 happened at all. Koki straightened his shots out in the next round. Instead of coming around, boom, he was doing the jabs, he was doing the uppercuts, he was going to straights, right? The straight rights, the straight lefts, the 1-2s, the 1-2-3s. And that helped him tremendously. He got a quick knockdown in round 2. He started landing more shots for the same reason. Not a real exciting fight here, though. It was up to 4 rounds, and while I'm telling you that straightening out those shots really, really helped Koki, the fight still wasn't super exciting. I'm not going to give it any wieners wherever I've laid my wieners. No, I'm not going to do that. But it wasn't super exciting. I got to be fair and I got to be true. Koki seems to be the better fighter, and Pratt looks confused on some level, like he's waiting on something to happen. So you have to see this to understand what I'm saying. The fight was the definition of the word meh. And I don't use the word meh as a downer. I don't use it as a wiener, if you will. I'm just telling the truth. It was kind of disappointing, slow, and boring. The winner by unanimous decision after all 5 rounds was Robert Koki, which was pretty obvious all fight long, but it wasn't like he didn't kill him. He didn't just destroy him. He was the obvious, more skilled boxer, but it came close to getting a wiener from me. I don't know, but I'll hold off because they're both extremely talented boxers, and it was a sort of a boring but good boxing match, if that makes any sense. And it probably doesn't. Sorry. The next fight, the 5th fight of the night, was Aston Edwards. Aston, I believe it's how you say it, versus Joe Randall. Randall come out like a wild man, seemingly wanting to completely overwhelm Edwards, but Edwards withstood it and pretty much worked through it, knocking Randall down with body shots. Again, we got those awesome body shots coming in. It wasn't long after Randall got back up that Edwards knocked him down a second time. The winner in the first round by knockout, Aston Edwards, in a dominant body shot fashion. So again, you understand what I'm saying here. Randall came out crazily, not totally uncontrolled, but just raring, just going Clay Guida style. Those of you who can remember that guy from the UFC. But it cost him in the end. He opened himself up to these body shots that Aston Edwards laid in so hard, so fast that it was down, out, and over in the first round. Aston Edwards was your winner. The 6th fight of Dance of the Dragons. Can I just say that Dance of the Dragons is a kick-ass name of a fighting show? Maybe it's not the first time it's been done. I have no idea. I'm still fairly new. I haven't been watching the fight game, the bare knuckle, for real long. I haven't even gotten up to a year yet, so maybe it's been used by somebody in the past, but it's a kick-ass name. But this was the 6th fight on that show. Paul Hills took on Jack Marshman. This was weird as hell. It was weird as hell. Marshman and Hills went hard from the second the bell sounded. Marshman concentrated on the body, and Hills went down. Hills got up to a knee, seeming to just wait out the 8 count. Like a lot of times when you go down, you'll hear commentators say, look, they should take a knee. They're hurt. They're feeling it. But if they take a knee and wait until 8 to get up, they'll get an 8-second rest. And that's what I thought was going on here. And that's what made this weird as hell. But because Hill's on a knee, seeming to just wait out the 8 count, but got up at 9.5, 7, 8, 9. Then he stood up. And the referee was like, no, I don't think so, and called the fight. It wasn't a bad call because you got to get up at 8. You can't wait till 9.5 to get off the canvas. You just can't, even if you're on a knee. Why he stayed down on a knee that long is bewildering. It didn't feel like cowardice. It didn't look like cowardice. He didn't look hurt. But the winner in 26 seconds of the first round by knockout was Jack Marshman. What the? Look, I got to pull the wieners out for this. This was not a leaner. It was a leaner as in being curious. But, man, you just got to drop the wieners on this. And now, it isn't Marshman's fault. But Hills, even if it was a mistake, that was one of the dumbest mistakes I've ever seen a fighter make. Just stay on one knee until 9.5 and then get up and wonder why the fight stopped. Come on, man. Do better. Do better. The next fight, Dance of the Dragons, it was the 7th fight of the night. It was called Dorian Darch taking on Troy Palmer. Lots of hard shots from both men to start this fight. Lots of clinching as well as they fought into each other. A lot of times you both come out aggressive, you're pretty much bumping into each other, and it leads to clinching. Clinching can be a defense mechanism. Oftentimes that's what it is. But both of these guys were fighting in until they're just hugging each other, basically, is what happened. Darch is cut on his forehead toward the end of the round, which could be an issue going forward. We'll have to wait and see if the doctor thinks anything. Okay? Palmer dropped his hands a lot in this fight and allowed Darch to get some solid shots. I don't know what that was about, but Palmer would literally just like drop his arms, drop his hands down. I don't know if he was trying to invite Darch in. But it was a little weird. Not as weird as the last fight, mind you, but it was a little odd. When Palmer slipped and was on the canvas, Darch attacked and swung at his face, which led him to losing a point. So Palmer slipped. It wasn't a knockdown. He slipped, and Darch comes up and hits him, swings at him hard. Well, he loses a point. You can't swing at a man or hit a man when he's down. That's just against the rules. It was a very unfortunate thing to see. He lost a point there. Darch also lost his mouthpiece numerous times in round 2. That's usually a sign of fatigue. It's usually a sign of somebody, they're huffing and puffing and their mouthpiece falls off. It happened several times. It can happen so many times sometimes that a guy will lose a point. Didn't happen here, but I think he came damn close here. Palmer is in control of the fight, but looks tired. Hands on his hips. You see that in the NFL when the linemen and stuff start getting tired or start putting their hands on their hips. That's another sign of exhaustion. And we saw that here. Darch is busted open badly at this point, and the mouthpiece continues to fall out. It's soon going to be a bigger issue. The doctor gives the okay for Darch to continue after looking at this cut that opened up, but not long after that, Palmer opens those cuts up even worse, and the fight is stopped early in round 3. The winner by TKO due to too many cuts on his face, bleeding into his eyes and such. So your winner by TKO, Troy Palmer. Decent fight. Didn't blow me away, but a decent fight. The 8th fight of Dance of the Dragons was Rob Boardman taking on Lee Chadwick. Both men came out fighting hard and pretty fast for two bigger men. I mean, these are big guys, and they're fighting at like a lightweight pace. That's always fun and interesting to see. Boardman seemed to be in control for most of the round, but Chadwick stayed with it and came back and closed the gap and clearly made Boardman uncomfortable. Okay, so you had one guy, you had Chadwick backing up mostly, like on his bicycle somewhat, trying to adjust to the pace that Boardman was bringing. But when he started to press back, Boardman clearly looked uncomfortable with the change of style, change of pace. He's like, whoa, what the hell is happening here? Like he wasn't ready for that. After a close exchange near the middle of the first round, Boardman took a knee and remained down. The winner by knockout in the first round was Lee Chadwick. So this was a comeback fight, if you will. Very nice fight. When a guy's getting somewhat pummeled and on his bicycle and just trying to defend, and then all of a sudden figures out the pace, figures out his range, and comes forward and confuses the guy that was winning the fight. Like, what the hell is happening here? That's what happened and gave Lee Chadwick the victory. Very good, very interesting stuff. Dance of the Dragons, December 5th, 2025. The 9th fight was Callum Sakan taking on Simi Doherty. The first round was all Sakan, with Doherty simply reacting. Sakan just came forward and punched and swung and struck, and Doherty's just reacting to it, trying to hit back, trying to fade away, trying to block, what have you. Wasn't super exciting, but it was a solid first round. Doherty is so evasive, but Sakane still did more offensively in round 2. So once again, round 2, Sakane is up. He's coming forward, and we've got Doherty reacting. Very difficult fight to call, but if aggressiveness means anything, if it means a lot, round 2 goes to Sakane again. But Doherty did show a little more offense in round 2 than he did in round 1, to be fair. Round 3 saw Doherty pick it up significantly and Sakane slowed down significantly. Sakane looks beat up and Doherty does not. So after that third round, it looks like Sakane is getting beat up and Doherty's making his comeback. Round 4 was exactly the same as the first 3 rounds. The fight was a good one, but not super exciting, if that makes sense. Both are highly skilled and it showed here, but sometimes this leads to fights seeming boring. When you got 2 super skilled boxers, 2 super skilled fighters who know how to hit and evade, hit and evade, evade and hit, sometimes to the untrained eye, and I'm not acting like I'm some kind of masterfully trained fight fan, but to the completely untrained eye, they can see something like this and think this is boring, this is slow, I'm not enjoying this. But that's where you're wrong. We did have some fights in the past where you could say that about. This one you can't say that about, but it was strategic. Very, very technical and strategic. This means we're going to go to the judges after 5 rounds. I don't see a wrong way to call this fight here. It was very close. The winner by split decision, Simi Doherty. I thought it was a good fight. I can't say it was exciting, but it was a very technical, the sweet science, if you will, fight that saw Doherty win it, which is a big deal. If you're in a technical fight and you win it, that's a big deal. If you're the better technical fighter, that should take you a long way in this game. Back to bare knuckle boxing, 49 Dance of the Dragons. We're on to the 10th fight that saw David Winarski take on Kieran Harding in the co-main event of the night. Harding loses a point in the first round for a finger poke. Look, if there's anybody in this world that's getting tired of finger pokes, I don't mean just in bare knuckle boxing or BKB or BKFC, UFC, it's tiresome. I'm all for bare knuckle, baby. I love it without the gloves. I love it without the gloves. It's awesome. But damn it, guys, keep your frickin' fingers closed. Stop with this shit. Block with your arms, block with your forearms. Stop trying to block with your hands or whatever this little Nate Diaz or whatever trick is where you need to knock that shit off. This guy, I am glad to see him lose a point. They need to do that more quickly. These refs were on it here. Losing a point, you start poking guys with your finger. No, this is a solid first round despite that. But at the end of the first, Harding is poked in the eye by Winarski. So the finger pokes are giving back his revenge or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous. And before round 2 begins, he loses a point for it as well. So both men's faces are busted up in round 2, but it was Winarski that applied the most forward pressure. I mean, I guess both of them can still see, thank God, after being eye pokers, but Harding pulls out some solid jabs that send Winarski to a knee, but he's up at 8. Now, he was smart enough to get up at 8. Great round 2 with both men nailing solid shots. Before round 3 can start, the doctors are called to check out both men due to how cut up both of their faces are. The docs gave the okay for the fight to continue. For half of round 3, both men were more reserved because they've both been poked in the eyes. They both got busted up faces. They're beat up pretty good here. So they were more reserved until Winarski all of a sudden stormed forward. This went back and forth just like the whole fight. Before the 4th round can begin, Winarski cannot continue. Winarski just says, look, I'm done, unfortunately. He's been beat up. He's been poked in the eye. He's exhausted. He's done. The winner by doctor stoppage after 3 rounds was Kieran Harding. Decent fight, but the eye pokes took something away from it. And unfortunately, I'm not going to pull out the wieners for him, but the eye pokes are soon just going to start automatically getting at least one wiener because it's just pathetic. And here we are at the main event, Bare Knuckle Boxing 49 Dance of the Dragons on December 5th, 2025. It was the 11th fight, so lots of fights on this show. And it saw Liam Rees defend his super welterweight championship against Ronaldo Dye. In the clinch, the champ, Rees is cut in his right eye. Right away, Rees is cut on his right eye. Dye goes from 0 to 100 out of nowhere. This guy can be laid back, doing almost nothing or seemingly doing nothing, and then he explodes. He's like this little package. Do you ever see those AI videos that people make of someone stealing their porch fire coming up and stealing a package off their porch, and they're running away? Sometimes, I got it, and boom, it explodes in their face. It's got some kind of blue or pink powder all over them. If you haven't, forgive me. You want to check that out. They're kind of funny. That's what this guy was like. He's like a little package just sitting there, like trying to measure, trying to figure out, and then boom, 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 he explodes all over his opponent. It was the most interesting thing about this guy. Very cool. Both guys are excited and going at it, but then backing off and measuring. They would back off, measure, boom, 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 go back. Both of them now are doing this. Dye goes from 0 to 100, like I said. Round 1 ends pretty evenly. Dye lands a solid blow to the face in round 2, and Rees goes down, but he gets up quickly. Dye lays back. He goes back to being the little wrapped up package, not doing much. He's waiting to counter, but Rees knows this and is taking his time coming in. And Dye wants him to come in. Of course he does, because he's a guy who fights off his back foot and can explode inward. And this isn't going to happen. He's not going to give that to him. He just lays back and waits, and Rees is knowing that's what's happened. Dye set it into being a counter fighter all fight long. Rees is hesitant because the counter right has worked all fight long for Dye. Dye is very cocky, talking to Rees. Come on, I got you. I'll take you out. After 3, he is shouting that he's the champion. I'm the champion. Give me the belt. After 3 rounds. Before round 6 can begin, because this continues the same way, and championship fights go 6 rounds instead of 5. Dye has his eye checked, and it looks completely closed. The doctor gives the okay to continue, so it goes to the 6th and final round. The round ends, so we will go to the judges. The winner by unanimous decision, and the new super welterweight champion, Ronaldo Dye. Now, This guy, they almost stopped the fight because of an eye closure, and it was damn close, but they did not, and he wins the championship. He wins the championship. He becomes the new champion because he's a hell of a counter fighter, because he will just turtle up and do next to nothing and then explode out. His style won the fight. His plan won the fight. His team and the direction they decided to go won the fight for him. But it was a 6-rounder that was very good. I want to call it back and forth, but to me, I felt like Dai had control of the fight all night long, all fight long. Not in a super dominant way, no, but in a way that I feel I could tell that he was winning and was most likely going to win. And since it was unanimous, I feel like I was right as I was seeing and feeling that all fight long. This was a good show. I enjoyed it very much, except for the one fight where the guy wouldn't get off the one knee, and got counted out when he clearly wasn't hurt. That was very strange. Like I said, I've seen fights where it felt like one of the fighters was being cowardly, and it didn't come off that way. I don't know. I hope somebody's interviewed this guy and we can hear his explanation in regard to what happened. But overall, I enjoyed this show. Big title change at the end. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I really leaned in most of the time, was enjoying most of these fights. There was 1 or 2 fights that weren't exciting, but they weren't bad. And so I highly recommend it. And I think bare knuckle boxing just keeps getting better and better. I'm glad. I appreciate them. I'm going to shout them out right here and right now. They will retweet me once in a while or repost me, since it's called X now, not Twitter. They will like some things I post, not everything. Why not, guys? Why not everything? But they do a lot more interacting with me on social media than BKFC does, because BKFC does nothing. Nothing. They don't retweet me. They don't like anything I post. I'm not saying they're against me or have it out for me or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't get any attention from BKFC at all in regard to reposts or likes or anything. And I get a decent amount from BKB. And honest to God, if I thought my relationship with BKB could be even bigger and better, I'd cover just them. I really think that's what I would do. Because look, guys, I do this for fun, but it's also nice to get some reaction, So thank you to those who do follow me, all 70 of you. Thank you for those who subscribe to the YouTube channel, all 70 of you. The few of you who do comment, especially my friend and fighter Cat Connor, for being encouraging and resharing my stuff. I really appreciate it. Everybody I've interviewed, I consider a friend, at least on a surface level. But Cat is special. She's something else. She's an amazing person, an even better fighter, a hell of an athlete, and I've just come to admire her more than she can understand in a very professional way. And I mean that. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll be back with more bare knuckle discussion here on Knuckle TF Up before you know it.